You move to Switzerland, you land a great job, and you are earning more than you ever have. And your money is still sitting in your UBS bank account, doing absolutely nothing, because you are overwhelmed by the Swiss financial system. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I would do if I had 300K in cash right now, step by step, using the exact framework that I use to grow into finally a 7-figure investment portfolio starting with just 500. Hey, it's Charlene, and this is the channel where I share my 10 plus years banking and investing experience with you all for free. Like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's get into it. So step number one. So before I touch a single franc of that 300K, I would stop and do something most people completely skip. But first, let me guess where you are right now. So you'll be in Switzerland for some time and you earn well, you save, you're an ambitious expat living here, you do the responsible thing and keep it safe in your bank account. Somewhere at the back of your mind, there is a quiet discomfort that will not go away. And you've heard your colleagues mention ETFs and Pillar 3A at lunch, and you smiled and nodded, and you probably have Googled how to invest in Switzerland as an expat at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday and ended up with 12 open tabs and no clear answer. And every article is either too generic, built for someone in the US, or so full of jargon that you close the tab and tell yourself you will figure it out later. And later keeps becoming never. And that's exactly what this video fixes. So step number one. So like I mentioned, before I invest a single franc, I would really evaluate where I actually stand financially today, right now, the full picture. Because 300K in cash sounds like a lot, but whether it's actually enough, what to do with it, depends entirely on the rest of your financial situation. So I would ask myself, what is my income? Am I still employed? Is my salary stable? Do I have other income sources beyond my salary? And what is my net worth? Beyond this 300K, do I own property? Do I have a pillar 2 building up? Saving elsewhere? Investment in another country? And what are my liabilities? For example, do I have debt, a mortgage, outstanding loans? Because before you invest aggressively, high interest rate debt needs to go first, always. So once I have an honest picture of where I stand, then I can define my goals. And this is where it gets personal. And goals are not vague, goals are specific, and they have timelines. And the timeline of a goal determines exactly how you should invest for it. So let me give you a real example, the scenario I'm going to use for the rest of this video. And let's say I'm currently single, based in Zurich, earning a solid salary. And I have 300K in cash, no major debt, and I have 2 clear goals. So short to midterm goals, I want to buy a property overseas in about 5 years, not in Switzerland, too expensive, abroad. And I will need roughly 100K as a down payment. And long-term goal, I want financial independence. I don't want to be working in a corporate job in Switzerland for an entire of my life until I'm 65. I want to build a portfolio that eventually replaces my income and gives me the freedom to choose how I spend my time. Instead of 65, I want to enjoy the freedom at 50. So these 2 goals, 2 completely different timelines, 2 completely different investment strategies. So this is the whole point of step number 1. Once you are clear on your goals and timeline, everything else follows logically. And now we're talking about step number 2. So stocks or bonds or ETFs or others. So now I know my goals, right, and timelines based on my financial situation. And I need to understand what investment options are actually available to me and which ones fit which goal, for example. So let me break this down clearly. I see so many people make the same mistakes again and again. So when it comes to investing, they just go with the names they have heard. For example, Google, Nvidia, VOO, QQQ. I actually made a separate video on this, on why just investing in VOO is the worst financial advice I've ever heard. I will link it below if you want to check it out after this. So what I do instead is to build a holistic picture of all the investment options available to me. So for example, within stocks, there is US, European, and Asian stocks. And then we have emerging market stocks and developed market stocks. And for example, we have growth stocks, we have value stocks, right? And within bonds, we have government bond, we have investment grade bond, we have high yield bond. And within alternatives, there's real estate, private equity, hedge fund, cryptocurrency, commodities, etc. So, and in Switzerland, specifically here, we also have tax advantage accounts. For example, Pillar 2 through your employer or Pillar 3A, which you can contribute privately. So what I would do is to map all of this out in front of me. I do not need to understand every detail of every single one, but what I do need to understand is what each option is and how they behave during different market cycle and what are the pros and cons of each different investment option, and most importantly, how they fit my short-term, mid-term, long-term goals that I just mentioned to you in step number 1. One rule I would keep in my mind is high risk, high return. And there's no investment in this world that gives you 20% returns, zero risk, guaranteed, with no liquidity issues. So if someone is just promising you that, it's just a scam. For example, stocks generally carry higher return potential than bonds over the long term, but they also carry more risks. And alternatives play a diversifier role, so they're not the engine of the portfolio. So in step number 2, I will gather all the information, map out the option by risk and return profile, and build a holistic view. Now let's put them together into step number 3, strategy. And my friends, if you are watching this and thinking, oh, I need to go through this properly for my own situation, and that is exactly what my free investment class is for. So actually, I have a 60 minutes free investment class built specifically for expats in Switzerland. And it gives you real numbers and clear starting point, so no generic advice. So I will put the link in the video description area. So sign up now and come back. And now we're talking about step number 3, strategy. So this is actually where everything comes together. So for example, I have 300K, I have 2 goals as I mentioned in the first step. I know my investment options, right? I just give you a full list. And now I need a strategy that maps the right investment to the right goal. And here is exactly how I would split the money. Bucket number 1, I will put my emergency fund. I will put around 30 to 50K Swiss francs. So what does it mean? So before anything gets invested, and this sits in a liquid savings account, or you can also put it in a digital bank. So 3 to 6 months of your living expenses, it is your emergency fund. So accessible immediately, not invested, not negotiable. Why? Because you just don't know, just in case, what will happen to our life, right? You may lose your job in Switzerland, a half-hour may not cover you immediately, and you may break your arm and insurance doesn't pay you immediately. So life happens. So always have a safety net. Bucket number 2, this is the money that I want to invest for my short to mid-term goal. I will put around 100, and this is the property down payment 5-year timeline, right? So because I need the money in roughly 5 years, I cannot put it all in stocks, which bear too much risks. So for example, a 30% market downturn 2 years before I want to buy the property would set my plans back significantly. So for this bucket, I would build a more conservative or a balanced portfolio. And here's is what I would invest in this bucket, something like 60 to 70% in high quality bond fund. For example, government bond, short to mid-term duration corporate bond, and 30 to 40% in a more globally equity ETF for some growth. So for this bucket, it would probably not grow dramatically, right? Because it's kind of balanced or even more conservative, but it wouldn't collapse on me when I, for example, need the money either. So the goal here is capital preservation with modest growth. So not wealth building. So that is what bucket 3 is for. So bucket 3 is for long-term wealth building. So I would probably put 150 to 170K in this bucket. And this is the financial independence portfolio, 10 to 20 years horizon. And here I can afford to take on more risks because time is on my side. And here is the portfolio I would build. So first of all, I would really max out my Pillar 3A first, so 7,258, right? So before a single franc goes into a brokerage account, I would really optimize my Pillar 3A. So Pillar 3A gets funded for the year. Every franc I contribute comes off my taxable income, depending on my content and income. That is 1,500 to 2,500 back at tax time. And I would probably use FinPension or VIAC and invest it at 99% or 100% or 97% equities, see what option they offer. And this is my investment horizon money. It belongs in growth assets. And for the remaining long-term money, and here is what I would actually hold. Probably I would have a 65% on a global equity ETF or index funds, for example, BT, or a UCITS equivalent. So it's like one fund, but you have thousands of companies beneath. They cover both developed and emerging market in the world. And this is the engine of the portfolio. And probably I will also have another 20% in the EM emerging market ETF. Because usually for the all country ETF, it still mainly cover the developed market. Emerging market ETFs, and often they offer you higher volatility as well, but over a 15 to 20 year horizon, and that is also where a meaningful part of the return comes from. And also, since I would like to stay in Switzerland for a little bit, I would say long time, and then I would also have some exposure in Swiss stocks. So here, probably I would like to have another 5 to 10% in, for example, SPI, SMI, these kind of index funds. So if you also plan to stay here for a while, I would say probably, some home allocation, it makes sense. It provides kind of like a natural currency hedge and access to one of the most stable and dividend-rich equity markets in the world. I mean, that's Switzerland. So here is pretty much my core portfolio. So on the other side, so here we're talking about like 90% already, right? And then on the other side, if I'm a person who's really into this kind of investment, these ideas, I would also probably, have some single security, commodity, or overall alternative. I wouldn't, exceed more than 10% of my total investment. So as I mentioned, the majority of the money, I was still pretty much, globally invested and globally diversified. Not many individual stocks, not too much crypto, and definitely no structured products if I only have 300K, for example. And now let's talk about step number 4, implementation. So now actually, we deploy the money. So for the long-term brokerage portfolio, I would open an account, for example, at Interactive Brokers, Saxo, or Swissquote. These are relatively low-cost, well-regulated brokers with strong security. And I would say I trust them personally. What I wouldn't do is just to open a bank account and then, invest with a traditional bank. It's just too expensive. And now, actually, a question I guess asked all the time. So, Charlene, if you have 300K, do you invest them, all at once, 300K, or you spread it out? So honestly, I would say for a beginner, I would spread it out, not because the math necessarily favor it. So lump sum investment actually outperform in most historical periods. Just based on research, you should do lump sum. So for example, if I'm a beginner, I put 150K in day one, and next day something happened, like COVID-19, for example, something unexpected happened, and the market dropped 20% is gone. Do you think you can manage it. Manage your emotions. So it's more from a psychological perspective. If I'm a beginner, I would probably invest, let's say, 50% or even 20-30% now, and then do dollar cost average in the remaining part over the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months, regardless of what market is performing. But if I'm like me right now, with over 10 years of experience in investing, I'd just invest it as lump sum right away. For example, if I receive a gift from my family, like 1 million, $500,000, oh, I will be so happy, of course. I will probably just invest it right away. But if you're a beginner, start small. It works. And eventually, it is not about timing the market. Instead, it's about building the habit and building your emotional resilience as well to stay invested no matter what market happens. And now let's talk about step number 5, optimization. And this is actually the step most people forget entirely, and it matters so much. So investing is not a set and forget it decision. So your portfolio should reflect your life, as we just mentioned in the first 3 steps, right? And your life will change. And right now, in this scenario, we just assume I'm single, right? But what if in 12 months, I'm married? It's quick, I know. And what if I have a child? And what if my income doubles or my job becomes uncertain? So what if I decide to, for example, live in Switzerland in 3 years instead of 5 years? So every one of those changes affects the right strategy. So every 6 to 12 months, I would revisit the same questions from step 1. Has my net worth changed? Have my goals shifted? Has my timeline moved? So if I get married and have a child, bucket 2 probably needs to grow and more money in conservative assets to cover short to mid-term family needs, right? So if my timeline on the property purchase shifts from 5 years to 8 years, I can afford to take slightly more risks in that bucket. So optimization is not just about reacting to market movements, it's about making sure your portfolio still matches your life, because a strategy that was right for you at 35 probably may not be right at 38 with a partner and the child. And now I want to be very direct about something before we close. None of this works if you stop. One market crash, one scary quarter, or one I will pause for a few months while things settle down. So the compounding breaks and you miss the recovery. Years of quiet, boring progress disappear. So for example, 300K invested at 7% per year for 20 years, it becomes over 1 million. And the same 300K sitting in a Swiss savings account becomes only slightly above 300K. And that gap over about 700 and 800K is not the result of picking the right stocks. It is the result of making a decision, building a system, and not getting in your own way. And if you are watching this and you have savings in Switzerland that are not working for you yet, whether that's 300K or 30K or 3 million, the framework is exactly the same. So start with your goals, match the risk to the timeline, build your own strategy, implement, and revisit every year as your life progress. First is actually my free investment class. So it is 60 minutes. So we have a lot more examples in the class walking you through how to build your first investment strategy in Switzerland as an expat. And if you want a complete system, every step mapped out for you with support, community, and also answers to your specific question as a Swiss expat. And we also have our Vision Investment Academy. So it is our one and only coaching program. I will put the links in the video description area. You can also choose to book a call with us, so you do not need to figure this all alone. So the best time to start was the day you arrived in Switzerland. The second best time is today. So thank you, my friends. I will see you in the next one.